things are picking up in the rabbitry finally. I think we are past the failed litters season that was this summer. The good news part is that Millie had 6. She had 6 kits, all on her own, 3 chestnut, 3 fawn. She fed them all at 4 years old. For any doe, I'm ecstatic. Most of the time, French Lops tend to kick the bucket around 5. So she's like a grandma almost, doing so well. With her, the one thing I am watching that I noticed more than her past litters is that this group is taking a little bit more out of her physically than they have in the past. So obviously she has access to as much food as she wants, but I have noticed she's gotten a little bit thinner than she has before. But for her age, that's really, expected. And with 6 of them, and she's fed them all, they're not thin. There's really not one that's smaller. And so she's done amazing with how many that she's had. So with that being said, I'm going to show you how I process them as far as telling which ones are what the genders are. They are literally 3 weeks today, so it's a little bit on the young side to be telling that, but I can usually tell most of them. So what I tend to do is mark in their left ear, which is the ear that they get tattooed in. So it's basically the ID number side, or the ID ear. So I'm going to mark bucks or does in their ears, which one is what, or that I think. My goal, hopefully, with keeping some, which I'm not sure how many I'm going to keep yet, but because of how well Millie has always done, I would like to keep 1 or even 2 of her daughters. But depending on how many does are in this litter, for sure I'll keep 1. But I've got 2 people who want does on the waiting list. One is just a pet. The other one is a little bit more, they want more, one that could do better in a show. And so it's not that these wouldn't, but I think some of the other pairings that are coming could do better. And so, these aren't like low ground by any means. However, I think they could do better. So there's another litter coming, hopefully due today, that I can kind of push them towards if they want one for that. So with that said, let's see what genders we got and maybe how many we can keep. All right, I'm going to go through the chestnuts first. I've actually pre-looked at them, but I want to check them again. This one I don't think I marked, no. So this one I still was not sure about. The other thing with this litter, and that why I might wait a little bit longer to offer them to people or let them pick, is they are still very much all, I'm a snack size, so they're very jumpy, which is not normal at all. And Millie's really relaxed. So I think for people wanting to pick, it would be better for them to wait anyway. Yeah, like normally I don't have this kind of issue. You do not want to do it, do you? So, let's see. Now I'm going to try. Yeah. All right. This one's not going to show up on camera at all. But the one thing that I have noticed too is that if you feel on either side, you can almost feel almost like a penis that's kind of like developing underneath. I think this one's probably a boy, but there's like, you can kind of just feel his junk there, even though you can't see it too much, just because of how small they are still. All right, well, that did not go as I had hoped, but I was hoping to be able to show you what genders are a little bit better than that. But these are the 2 does, and so we got 2 does and 4 bucks. What I'm going to do when it comes to the waiting list, because I would like to keep them, not based on color, but just for a while to see which ones still look decent. But what I'm going to do, that the one lady has been waiting for a while, so I am going to show her the colors and be like, this is what's here right now. Maybe she'll like the one color. Maybe she won't. I bet if she wants anything, she's going to go for the fawn. But she's going to want a good temperament too. So what I'm going to do is I'll take pictures of both, send them to her, be like, I'm keeping the ones that stay here out of this, but here's what's here. And then sometimes if it's a color she doesn't want, she's going to pass right away. So that's the nice thing about when you need to wait as far as telling the genders and things like that. Or I'm sorry, when you need to wait to tell the temperaments. A lot of people, when they're wanting a pet, they care about the temperament or the color just as much. So if you have hopes of keeping one, try and get it nixed early, So sometimes it just kind of mentally helps you do that. So not as many girls as I had hoped, but hopefully both of these girls, yeah, you can tell they're very much still snack size. These should be chilling out by now, but hopefully both of them get to stay here just for a while to see, because mom is probably going to have to retire next year. So hopefully you'll be good mamas, just like your mom. That would be great. Their ears are not at all lopping yet. So one disappointment is that Dahlia was my 1 second place at the Lot Nationals this year, did not have a good litter. So that was one that I was only going to keep one if she had a good amount of does, to only keep one of hers, but since she didn't have anything, that kind of affects the keeper plans from here on out. So the joy of raising rabbits, or the lack thereof, is that sometimes things just don't go the way you hope. The funny thing is that she has had a successful litter. Her first litter was successful. She had 7, I think. Raised them all herself. They were great. And then all of a sudden, she's not having anything. So I don't have the buck that she was bred to anymore. Her failed litters have all been with different bucks. So I don't know what's going on. It's probably more on her end. So when you're trying to decide who to keep in your herd, there's 3 main questions I like to ask myself when it comes to who to decide to keep. One is, who is not related the least to the animals? Is what the animals that you have, is what their potential production going to up the quality, or just keep it level, or potentially drop it? And then the other one is, how are they in reproduction? Because so many times I see this a lot, is that they'll make breeding judgments based off of conformation and type. But if you're losing all the litters that they produce, then there's no point. So try to, as much as conformation is important, ease in production and raising of offspring is also just as important. And it takes a lot of work off of you too. I used to have to hand feed half a litter for almost every single time, until I started keeping offspring from animals that did better. So just something to think about. So fingers crossed, we've got 2 more litters due this year. That's where we are right now. Hopefully we can get some amazing show prospects coming this fall for spring. So we'll see. See you in the next video.